So this thought just came to my mind based on recent interactions and experiences that I have been processing in professional dynamics. And I think it's something that's really pertinent that can apply to all interactions, regardless of the context of the space or who it is you're talking to. And it's about confidence and assertiveness and how that comes across in your interactions with other people and how that's received and interpreted by other people. And I'm using that word interpreted because I think there is oftentimes when we feel that we're not always understood in the way that we wish to be, or that there is room for misunderstanding. So this is a reminder and an invitation to bring awareness into this space as you move forward and navigate your interactions and dialogues with people, when you are consciously making more effort to try and bring more confidence and more assertiveness into those spaces. And firstly, there's a piece here about permission, and just to say it's okay that not everyone understands or appreciates or sees things in the same way as you, and that sometimes the way that you want something to come across doesn't always land in the way that it hoped you would. But this is the beauty and the nuance of communicating with other people. We don't actually get to control other people's reactions, but we do have a say in how we can move forward in our own processing of that, and then our responses and awarenesses of how other people are responding to what we're sharing. So there's a lot of energy exchange and looping going on in this image that I'm trying to convey, but your confidence and assertiveness can be interpreted by someone else as you being pushy or aggressive or dominating, or any other variable of those potentials. Also, it can come across that you are being accusatory or a know-it-all, or that you are somehow insinuating that the person you're talking to's work or contribution is not of value. So these are all negative connotations that can come out of either misunderstanding, or the other piece that I'm wanting to bring into this is that that person is not ready to meet the energy of the confidence that you're bringing into that space. They're not at a point where they've had enough exposure or experience with that particular quality of communication, so that it doesn't actually relate to the way that they are currently interfacing. And therefore it's challenging. It is a challenge for them to rise to meet that, because it involves more engagement, and it involves more attentive listening, and it involves a dropping of the ego, and a more compassionate, empathetic, open-minded perspective to be able to process that energy, and not to see it or feel it as being threatening. So this is so interesting. There's so many nuances to this. I cannot like stress that enough. But before kind of going into arms and legs of all the other possible reasons for our messaging, or confident messaging, being misconstrued or misinterpreted, I am bringing it back to our responsibility for our development in our communication skills and our vocal flexibility, and our delivery, our performance skills, because that all feeds into this as well. So the more we practice and the more we refine and clarify our ideas, but also our means of communication and delivery, then the more comfortable we're going to feel, the more confident we're going to feel, just by default of rehearsing, repeating, and actually working that muscle and that reflex. If you can even take the memory way back to primary school, perhaps being asked to recite a poem and being asked to learn it by rote. We've all had to do that in some small way in our lives, whether we've chosen to hone that skill and really develop it, in delivering pitches or performances or in other contexts. We've all had that experience to some degree. So if we can like reconnect with that for a moment and think about, what's involved with that and how big of a task it feels initially and how scary and overwhelming it can be. But then over time and through repetition, we come to a point where we can stand up and we can recite this poem, and it's part of our muscle memory. We know all the motions to go through because we've practiced it. So there's a degree to which that is an inevitable part of enhancing confidence and skill set in any area. And then the other part I want to mention, which I think is really important, is about intention of communication as well, because it's possible to share ideas that have weight and potency to them, and to make convincing arguments for things that are, that have a different viewpoint to other people, and for them to still be accessible as cases or arguments to be made, because the intention behind those is that we do not inherently wish to do anybody harm by the things that we say or by the way that we say them. So if we can get really clear on our messaging and, what is this interest? Why? What compels me to share it? What benefits will there be to sharing this viewpoint, and what are those for me as an individual, and what are those for the community or the wider space? What am I contributing? And if we can spend time engaging with those different perspectives and informing ourselves about what drives us and what motivates us, then I believe that this supports a positive and progressive way of ensuring that when we do enter into our dialogues and interactions, and we do so with confidence and the knowledge that we are not intending to do any harm or to do ill by anyone, that the room for misunderstanding or misinterpretation of our confidence as arrogance or dominance over my ideas are more valid and are better than your ideas kind of hierarchical dynamic, like those negative aspects become diminished. And over time, if we continue to practice and work with that, it's like the goal or the aim is to get to the point where we can be a confident and fluid communicator that can be easily understood by others, even if we perceive those other people to not have confidence levels in communication skills to the extent that we do. The very nature of sharing in that uninhibited way and in that empowered way actually serves to support that other individual to be able to reflect and interact and engage in dialogue with you and match that energy. So actually you become an activator, you become a stimulator, you become a space holder for that person. And that is absolutely crucial and key, that we bring even that other level of almost like higher self-awareness into the picture, so that we can stay grounded and humble about that role, because that in itself is an opener and a possibility for really organic, beautiful co-creation in our sharing of energy and ideas, and we remain grounded and don't become lofty in our self-identification, of self-aggrandizement, or any of these tendencies that are easy for us to slip into when we kind of get that feedback from somebody, say, that's validating us or validating our ideas. Like the validation piece that is most crucial when it comes to communication is not about ego validation. It's about the human animal validation of, I see you, I recognize you, thank you for sharing. And the fact that we actually need that feedback and reflection to stimulate us, because it helps to generate certain ideas and it helps to bring out deeper layers of confidence within us that we didn't necessarily know were there, or we wouldn't be able to express in the same way if we were just channeling that into one particular creative outlet like writing, or so I just felt it was important to tap into the space and to share some of these reflections that have been emerging for me in different spaces that I've been navigating in the last weeks in particular. But yes, the original energy of that message that I wanted to express was actually really playful and really cheeky, of saying, just because, you feel confident and you can express and it's there, don't let that then become a beat down from someone else that isn't open, willing, or ready to receive that energy. If you know that you're coming from a good place and you've done your work to really question and to really align, and you can be sure, and that the work you've done to know yourself better and to know your foibles and your faults, and all the human colorful aspects that create problems for us, if you can take all of that and move forward in your interactions and still kind of hold on to a sense of like, yeah, like this is who I am and this is what I have to say, and give value to yourself and give yourself permission and space to express in that kind of free way, in that empowered way, then it's your choice whether you then allow someone's misinterpretation or misalignment of energy and receiving that to be able to disrupt you from your continued work. You know, is someone's misunderstanding or assumption that you're being critical or negative about them and saying, you know, I'm more confident and what I have to say is more important. That's them. That's them. That's not you. So you know, there are ways to really go deeper into the work of trying to unpick and disentangle, like, what is mine, what is theirs, what belongs to the space and the environment, what belongs to the culture and the habitus. Like, there are so many narratives that feed into our ideas and our expressions. So I think it's important to give ourselves space to acknowledge and to accept that, but also to take responsibility, because being empowered is about being responsible. So yeah, these are thoughts that are flowing, and as ever, please join the conversation, share your experiences. It's great to hear from you, and I'm really curious to know how aspects of this particular flavour of communication play out in your day-to-day life, in your professional life. And yeah, if you're curious to understand more about tools and resources and skills that you can develop to support a deeper awareness with this aspect of confident expression, then yeah, please reach out to me, because I'm always adding new resources and new opportunities for diving into this work in different avenues. So yeah, please do reach out, and I look forward to hearing from you.